Hey, I'm Jade, and this is the Backline Beat podcast. We are back, and it's a good one. In this episode, I talked to Emily Wolfe. We talk about gear, including her signature Epiphone Sheraton, her new album, The Blowback, and, of course, some of her favorites, and a whole lot more. Now let's get into it.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Sorry for the mix-up.
Oh, that's okay. No worries.
So you just got back off a tour?
Yeah. Been touring a lot this past fall, so it's been a lot, but I'm back home for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then I believe I was looking at what, like a couple weeks again, and then just sleep until the new year.
Yeah, just got a couple weeks and then go back out, and then next tour is in March after that.
This next run, you're opening for someone, am I right?
Yeah, it's Black Joe Lewis.
Yeah. When it comes to opening, is that like the same size venue, or is it a bigger venue than what you've been headlining as?
It kind of depends. I think this one it'll be about the same size room, but yeah, Joe and I are both from Austin, so it'll be, it's kind of fun to tour with a fellow, Austinite. So
Yeah, and the Gaslight Anthem and Tool, I think, were your others this year.
Yeah, those were huge venues. Yeah, so Tool was an arena, and then we'll do arenas over in Europe in March with Gaslight. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. What's your favorite venue size to play?
Arenas, for sure. Yeah, as big as possible.
I'm definitely like, I play guitar, but I'm not like a musician or anything. I'd rather play to 30,000 strangers than 30 people I know.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
When you learn a song to cover, because you've done a few covers, where do you start?
I think I listen to it tons of times in a row, and then grasp kind of what the person is the feeling that they're trying to convey, and then put my own spin on it, I guess, and I pick up a guitar and see if I can add my own kind of flavor to it. So yeah, I guess it starts with guitar pretty much.
Is that where most of your songs start with?
Yeah, I'd say so. Guitar or drums.
Okay. You also play drums?
Yeah.
Speaking of your guitar, your beautiful, beautiful signature guitar, which I'm
Thanks.
very jealous of. That's like, once the white one came out, the black one I loved, but like that white one, it's like, that Gretsch that I have my eye on is having competition. Though now that Dave Grohl's been playing an Epiphone on stage, you guys are gonna just get wiped out if that thing comes out. I've been coveting that guitar.
Oh man, that's awesome. Hell yeah, that rules.
Yeah. What's it like? What's the process of getting a signature? Like, who contacted you and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've been working with Gibson for years and developed a really cool friendship with my rep there named Cody. And she flew me out to NAMM, the gear conference, in Anaheim, California, and had me play in front of all the Epiphone people during one of the showcases, and that's kind of where it all started. They noticed that the Sheraton is what I play, and it's kind of a rare thing to play that big of a guitar, I guess. And so they thought, it'd be cool to, I guess, lift up an emerging artist instead of kind of giving another person who's already made it a signature guitar. So at that time, it was really cool because they just kind of approached me about it, and I was stoked to do it. So yeah, it's awesome.
Was your Sheraton, original Sheraton, was that like the only guitar you played?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the only
So
one.
so it went you're like, was it your first electric? Am I right?
The first electric that I bought with my own money, yes. Other ones were like Christmas gifts and knockoff Strats or Ibanez, kind of lower end models. And but then in college, I made the jump and worked some and saved up and bought the Sheraton.
Yeah, and then next is your signature model.
Yeah.
Are you like the kind of person like me, when you get a guitar, it's like it's the guitar for life? You don't really want a guitar that, oh, maybe I'll sell it in a year.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why, but I have like a loyalty to certain ones. Like, I have like the one. It was like the first one I opened from the batch that I got after the prototype was made, but the black one, it's like my number one, and like I don't know why, but I was like, this is the one. This is the number one, and I put a sticker on it, and now it's like if I don't play that particular one, then I feel kind of off, even though the model, like my backup is the exact same guitar, but it's like different. It's like I feel like really loyal to it for some reason. But yeah, I'm the same way.
I get it. I would go into this entire floor could be engulfed in flames, and I'm going for my Epiphone Les Paul that I got in
Yeah.
grade 10. I got in 2020, I got a Telly, which it was a 10-year search to find a Fender that I loved. But like still I'll be playing that Telly, and then once the Les Paul goes on, it's like, oh, this is it. This is it. It's home.
Totally. It's like something about humbuckers I just love too. It's so big.
Hey, just popping in here to say if you like the video, I'd love if you hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to support the channel a bit more, there's ways to do so in the description box below. Now let's get back into it. For sure. Before we move on from gear, I have to thank you. I think it was your rig rundown in like 2020 or 2021. I think it was for Outlier. And I have tried every pick shape known to man. And I'd been using Fender mediums for like 10 years. 2011, I got like this pack of Fender mediums, and I'd been using that. But I'd never tried the small jazz picks. And you said I have small hands, so I use a small pick.
Yeah.
Had you not said you had small hands, I wouldn't have tried them. Revelation, like absolute revelation.
Oh
getting
man,
a small
that's
pick.
awesome. Totally.
But
yeah.
Can't go back now.
I know, it's so hard to go back. I know I tried to go back to bigger ones, like just for no reason. And I just as soon as I picked it up, I was like, I cannot do this. Like it's small ones forever. Yeah.
Though I do have to say, with your original Sheraton, I'm seeing you played, I think one of your signature models. How have you worn away the poly on some of those spots? I was expecting to be like, I play with a razor blade.
Oh, are you talking about on my original Sheraton?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's, I think it's like a lot of it is like this motion here, it like rubs off for some reason. And then around like the bridge, I think so. Like I end up playing like with the side of my hand, like because I'll roll the volume knob off like really frequently, and then I also like kind of punch it during my shows to get the feedback without strumming. So like I'll hold a chord and then like hit it, like with this part of my hand, like so much, and I'll end up like after shows, I'll have like huge bruises, but it's like the adrenaline during a show for me is so intense that I don't feel it until like hours later. Like so I literally beat it up.
I was like, I've played my Epiphone Polybody. There's a few dings in it, but like I've nary put a scratch in that guitar other than like a few bad like dings where I've dropped stuff on it. And yeah.
It's bad. I should be less I should probably be less aggressive, but it's just too fun. I don't know. I like to beat the hell out of it on stage.
You gotta play it.
Yeah.
Okay, getting into the album. This is your third album in 3 years. Once you made your first album, did the floodgates just kind of open now that you like kind of had your first one under your belt?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's like if I write one song, then I'm reminded that I can finish an album, you know, like because everything kind of just floods out after that. But yeah, it's because like the thought of like, oh my gosh, I have to write a full album, it's like really daunting. But you know, if I get nervous, I'll look back and be like, okay, I did this, you know, 2 times before. I can do it. I can do it again. Um, so yeah, it was cool to be able to finish it and so quickly too because I don't know, like all the songs just kind of came out really pretty quickly for this new one.
Was that kind of because your EP came out in what 2015 and then 2019 was your first album? Was that kind of the thing, you didn't have a full album under your belt to kind of give you that boost?
Yeah, and then also let's see what else. What else was, man, 2015 so hard for me to remember. Yeah, I think I was still kind of like getting my sea legs, um, and trying to, you know, open the door to a career in music. And so yeah, I just didn't have enough material when I put that EP out. But so yeah.
You have another EP called Mechanical Hands.
Hmm.
It only shows up on Amazon, but like you cannot listen to it. Was that like taken down? It's like this weird, I need to listen to it because it's not available.
So yeah, people ask me this all the time. Here's what happened. So in 2016, I met a big manager in Los Angeles, and he was like, I'm going to sign you on. And he promised me the world. And he was like, you need to delete all of your old material because it's not your best work. And so I did because I thought he was right, because I was early 20s and stupid and didn't know what I was doing. So all of my old material is gone because, yes, it's deleted, because he said I should delete it. Um, I still have I still have it. I mean, it's a Dropbox link of like my whole my catalog and all of it. Um, I wish I hadn't deleted it because I have a ton of music. Um, but yeah, and then like Mechanical Hands, and then Night and Day. There's another EP, and then several other. There is a full length album I did in college that's acoustic that was deleted as well, um, because he told me to delete it. And but I still have it all. And one day I'll release a box set. But it being online is a mistake from the distributors who forgot to delete it from all these other platforms. So if you can listen to it, by all means, go for it. If you want it, I'll send it to you. I don't care. You can have it.
I'd
I'll
love
send
to
you
hear
it.
it.
Yeah, go for it. If anybody wants it, they can email my tour manager and I'll send it to them for free.
Were you always solo or did you ever play in a band or bands?
No, I was always solo. Except, well, I had like a little college band with my roommate. But we only played in like open mics and coffee shops and stuff. Um, but after college, I just kind of went out solo and hired other players to play with me. And yeah, I don't know why it's like really important for me to kind of have my music under my own name and then and write music and have it be mine. um, I want to play in a band though. It'd be fun to play drums in a band one day.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm at the point where I'm thinking about it, a band, but it's so overwhelming. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's one of those crazy things. It's like it's all just trial and error, which is scary when you think about it. But you know, if you just jump in, it always works out somehow.
It's never like a longing for me. It was always like, oh, it'd be cool to be in a band, but it was earlier, I think in 2022, with my guitar playing, I'm like, man, I think to go more, I need to play with people. And I'm a photographer and I shoot shows. And then I had this weird thing when I'm shooting shows. It's not specifically genre, but like energy. I'm like, oh damn, I want to be up there. Which like I'd never really had that before. And it's just like, oh God, I don't know what to do with these emotions.
Yeah, yeah. It means your dream is alive, you know? Totally do it. If it's like, because whenever I go to shows, I'm just like, if, you know, if the band does not blow me away, like I'm like, I want to be up there. I can do that, you know, like, but if the band is just so insanely good, like Sarah Jaffe's amazing. She's an artist who lives in New York, but from Texas. Whenever I go to her shows, like I can really enjoy it. And same with like Fool, like watching them play, I was just like in awe of it. And then, you know, some shows you go to and you're like, I could do this a lot better. I wish that was me right now. But yeah, I feel you.
Going to this album, actually, I'm going to switch over to Outlier for a second. No Man really is kind of the outlier, of the rest of the album. It kind of feels like it belongs more in your first. Was that like a holdover, or did you kind of want to start that album as like a, I don't know, a previously on, so to speak?
Yeah, actually, I wrote that song for my first record. And then the producer, Michael Schumann, who I loved working with, was like, send me everything you've ever written in your life. And I was like, okay. I sent him a Dropbox of everything, and that song was in it. And it was really blues driven and really like stomp clap, like not electronic at all. And he was like, what if you put some like 9 Inch Nails beats on it? And I was like, okay, sick, let's do it. And he sent me some beats, and then we kind of formed that song together. And I thought it was really interesting and cool. And so yeah, he had a big part in making it sound the way it does. And it's just I just kind of wanted to try something a little different, you know, just to see what would happen. And yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun song, and it's got some interesting sounds. But yeah, it's interesting you say that, because that song I had written for my first record, and then it was on the second.
I almost kind of feel this album does that in the same way a little bit, because your first 3 songs kind of have more the upbeat Outlier kind of stuff, and then it gets a bit darker from there. Mm-hmm. Talk about your current album, and I'll figure out how to exactly word this properly.
I wanted to essentially make this record 2 EPs as one LP. So like the side A, when you listen to the vinyl, it's all really like punchy and aggressive, and there's a lot of rage in it. And then the side B is the more like the softer kind of songs that have a lot to do with heartbreak, but in a way that's like, heartbreak is in things that I went through were not related to love. It was very like betrayal by someone that I used to know, and being a gay woman in a conservative state. And so like Hopeless and Panorama I wrote in a hotel room in Oregon, and it was a time when I felt really isolated, being in the LGBTQ community, and then with, you know, Republican politics in America just being so insanely like against my community. And so that song is like a love letter to the queer community. And then Rock Bottom on a High Wire is actually written from the perspective of a former friend and their failing relationship. And I with that song, my goal is for her to hear it and to realize that she doesn't have to be in that relationship. So it's kind of a subliminal thing for the this one person, but when I listen to it, I feel like it might help people, like other people. And let's see, there's Second of Relief on the second side, which is about my journey as, musician coming out of the pandemic and how music stopped and live shows stopped. And I couldn't get any relief because I'm a sober person as well. So I couldn't have any, there wasn't anything for me to escape life from. I just had to live it and sit in it, and I couldn't drink or smoke or whatever, like, to get away from everything. I just wanted relief. And so I wrote that song out of that. But yeah, that's the vibe of the last half of the record is very different from the first, intentionally, because I wanted it to, be two different kind of things, because I like to change it up that way for people. I think, a lot, like a full album of the same energy is too much. So I wanted to, flip it.
What were some of your inspirations going into this album?
A lot of 90s rock, like Nirvana and Veruca Salt, and a lot of like the angst and dissonant kind of chords that come with 90s rock. It was a big thing. Alanis Morissette was a huge thing for me. And then just like really fuzzy guitars.
Yeah, I definitely got the 90s vibe. There's a few songs I'm like, it reminds me of a song, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on what that song is. What's your approach when you start an album?
Well, I guess my approach is just to kind of get everything out that I can. So it's like I essentially kind of like word vomit and then melody vomit into like a voice memo on my phone. And then when I sit down and have the feeling that I can write a song in that moment, because it's like a specific feeling that I have to have. Like, okay, I feel like there's something coming. Like I could sit down right now and get something out, and something would make sense. Like I'll go back to my whole list of everything I've written down and recorded, and take pieces. And if anything inspires me, then a song will normally like spark from that. And so yeah, it's just kind of like I think it's over time. Anything that I hear that's inspiring, like a word or a phrase or a riff or something, I'll record it or write it down and then reference back to that stuff. But yeah, so that's it. That's kind of where I start, and then it just builds. And once one or two songs are done, usually the remainder of the album follows pretty quickly, because it's kind of just like okay, the creative door's open, now let's finish it.
How do you balance the kind of personal aspects of songs with maybe fictional aspects, or are you just like you just let all the personal stuff come out?
Yeah, I just let it all come out, because I feel like that's kind of the point of art, is just for people to relate to each other. And usually people go through the same exact emotions, one form or another. So yeah, I think I've written songs that are fictional, and I don't love them as much as the super, nonfiction ones, if that makes sense. But yes, I try my best to write super personal, like nonfiction lyrics.
Do you have any songs that a fan has come up to you and has taken like a completely different meaning from the song than like was your experience?
Yeah. I've got a song called White Collar Whiskey that I wrote about a reception job I had with a construction company, and how much I hated it. And then that song was in a show called The Vampire Diaries, and it has nothing to do with vampires, but a lot of people who like that show come up to me and like reference it and then talk about their vampire characters, and it's just like not at all what I had in mind for that song. But it's cool. I mean, like that's the thing about putting music out, is it's like once it's out, like it belongs to everybody. They can do whatever they want, use it however they want, emotionally speaking. And so yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's interesting to see what people take from it.
You produced this album yourself fully.
Mhm.
What was that like, kind of balancing kind of the musician and the producer and kind of finding that objectivity of being the producer?
Yeah, it was a fun challenge, because I really did have to remove myself from being the artist when I was being the producer, and then remove myself from being the producer when I was being the artist. And it was a kind of a weird dance to navigate. But so what I did was like kind of a weird approach, but so I demoed out every song on this record in my room, like in here, and like everything. I mean, I like the drums, like all the guitars, all the vocals. So everything was pretty much done in a demo format before I went into the studio. And so, in order for me to remove myself as the artist and only play the producer role in certain points, um, I I took those demos and played them over the speakers and in the headphones in the studio, so my musicians could hear the demos and like, this is the song, just play along to this. And so I could sit in the tracking room, or the engineering room, where the console is, and make sure that the right takes were happening. And so it was like I was hearing the everything at one time to get a sense of like what else needed to be recorded in a more like professional format, instead of what I have here, which is, well, a pretty shitty outboard gear and, not great preamps and all this stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun though. It was really cool. Because at the end, it felt like those two personas kind of merged into one. And like by the end of it, I was like, okay, I can do this dual job as one person. Like it was just kind of like a emergence of like the next phase of my career, I guess.
Is there a person you go to when like a song's finished for like their opinion on how it sounds?
My bass player, yeah, because he's super, super critical, really amazing at music, but also really sensitive. Like you know, he'll tell me the hard truth, but in a way that is kind and doesn't hurt my feelings. And then he'll also, he's a jazz studies major, so he knows like all the weird kind of chord progression tricks and stuff like that. And yeah, when a song's finished, I'll be like, check this out. And I can always tell if he's like into it or not, because he'll be like, this is fucking crazy good, like a bunch of exclamations, or like, this is tight, this is cool. Like, it's like, oh, okay, this one has more work I need to do. But yeah, it's always him. He's like my best friend, and been working with him for like 8 years, and he's been grinding on the road with me for this whole time. And just, yeah, he's great.
You can tell me it sucks as long as you tell me how to fix it. That's
you know, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you two meet?
We met through my former bass player. So my former bass player he moved on, and he recommended Evan for the gig, and that was it. I mean, I liked his playing so much, and we just hit it off as friends like immediately. So yeah, just he filled in on a gig, and then I hired him full time.
Nice. What do you look for when you're hiring musicians?
The hang. So much of it is the hang, um, and really great musicality, which isn't easy to find. A lot of times, really amazing musicians can be really tough to hang out with, but the opposite can be true, and so it's tough to find the person who has both of those things. Um, because when I tour, I mean, most of it is traveling with the band, and there's an hour and 15 minutes every night where it's music. So like most of it is hanging out, and sense of humor is important to me. And like, yeah, I think it's just kind of, are you chill enough to just be in a van with me for 12 hours at a time and then go play music? And I've found that in Evan and Johnny, my new drummer. He's been playing with me for about a year, and he's just the best.
Yeah, lots of musicians you talk to, it's all about the hang. It's like that needs to be a core, which makes sense. Like hanging around bands and tuning bands, there's very much like I couldn't imagine doing it with people. There are bands that are like business partners, and like I could not do that. You have to like, it's so much more fun even just hanging out with bands when they're all clearly just like buds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's I think that's a big reason too why I enjoy being a solo artist, is like all the business side stuff, like it's all me. Like I don't, I pay my band and they don't see the day-to-day kind of grind that I do for my business. And I like it that way because, I would much rather them just have fun playing music and getting paid for it instead of being, bogged down with all the stuff that I have to do in terms of like, like keeping up with invoices and travel and hotels and paying for everything that I do pay for. And it's a lot, but if we keep, the business stuff kind of out of it, we can focus on the fun stuff, which is it in turn makes them play way better too. So
You're all independent. Do you plan on staying that way, kind of being your own label essentially?
well, I do have a label. I am on a Pro Seat Records, which is a great little small label, and um, I've got I've got a live album that I have to do for this label, and then after that, I don't really know what I'll do. It would be cool to start my own label though, because I do really enjoy being independent in a lot of things. Because the autonomy of getting to make my own decisions is so important, especially in such a weird industry where it seems like it changes every day, and nobody really knows what they're doing. That's what it seems like, at least. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I will try my best to avoid big label stuff, because I do know from relationships that I have with other musicians who are on bigger labels, it's like they can't deal with it because it's like, all of their decision making is just not theirs. It's the labels, and so I do feel really lucky to be on Crow's Feet, which is very it's a smaller label, and they've been really supportive and really they kind of let me make all the creative decisions, which is really rare and amazing. So
Especially with nowadays, you're writing for TikTok and what on these labels and stuff. And there's a great quote. I was watching a thing with Tennille Townes, and she said something about like she has to like actively try not to like write for the algorithm.
wow, yeah, yeah, I bet that's tough. Like, God, TikTok is just so wild to me. I don't know how people do it. It's a mystery to me. But I could see that being a challenge, because it is so like, okay, the end goal is to go viral on TikTok. It's like, okay, well then I should write a song that's going to go viral on TikTok. But it's like, I don't know. For me, I would rather write something that is gonna stand the test of time. Like if TikTok ends or if TikTok is banned or like something like that. It's like, is my song gonna still be around? So it's like, I think it's interesting. That's really interesting how TikTok and social media has affected the music industry so much. I've even noticed that a lot of songs are shorter because I guess people think that their audience's attention spans are dwindling. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But I refuse to think that. I feel like there's still people out there who want full length records with 3.5 to 5 minute songs. But I also understand people are so busy that, if they want their entertainment through TikTok, it's like 1 second videos and just keep scrolling and.
I've never been on TikTok, so
It's not great. It's successful. It's just insane.
at least you got one album listener. I cannot tell you. I'm so bad at song names. I can tell you usually the first song or the last song, or maybe if I learned a song on the guitar, that song. Other than that, you're screwed. I don't know the song names because I just put it on and go down.
Yeah.
I could listen to an album a million times.
Song names are tough to remember, but melodies, yeah, easy to remember. I would say, for me at least. But.
Okay, I will let you go, but first I'm gonna kind of rapid fire you, make you squirm a little bit. A few people squirm on these. It's just your favorites. First thing that comes to mind. If you want to expand on it, you can. The question everyone hates: what's your favorite song?
That is so hard. I'm gonna have to go with "Sleeping Bag" by ZZ Top.
Okay. Album.
"Songs for the Deaf" by Queens of the Stone Age.
Band.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Venue to play.
Let's see. The 8x10 in Baltimore.
To watch.
Favorite venue to be at, like as I think Stubbs Outdoors in Austin.
Favorite city to have a day off in.
Ooh. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Is the Songbirds Museum still there?
Yeah, they're moving though to like across the street from where it is. So it'll be like a 1-level thing instead of 2. But yeah, it's still there.
Favorite movie?
Titanic. Mm-hmm.
I remember Titanic when first seeing it. I was homesick from school and my nana had it, and this just ages myself because I had to, halfway through the movie, change the VHS tapes.
So did I. I had the double VHS.
Yeah,
you bet. It was awesome. That's so funny. Yeah, it is. It gets me every time.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, favorite TV show. Vanderpump Rules.
I have not seen a second of that.
It's so good.
I can't do the reality stuff.
Yeah, I feel that. It is trash, but it's like I get to turn my brain off for half an hour and, watch people just do nothing.
Yeah. Favorite book?
Totally. East of Eden.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Okay, bonus questions of firsts. First concert you watched?
That was a band that used to exist called The Format, and they played at Stubbs Outdoors in Austin. So that was like the first concert I went to. But I think the lead singer went on to form that band Fun. which is interesting. But yeah,
How
so I
how
guess
old
it's
were
his
you?
former band. 15.
15. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a late first concert.
Yeah, I grew up in church and like Christian music was the whole thing, and it's um. So I guess my first concert technically was like church, but it doesn't count because it wasn't fun.
Um, first concert you played.
It's Spider House Ballroom in Austin, and it was with my college duo that I played with. Yeah,
What was the band name?
we were called the City Sound,
How
which
did you come up
people
with it?
loved, which I don't even know. We went to a band named Generator online, and then that popped up, so we just did it. Yeah.
Just wrapping up here, plug yourself, tell the viewers where they can find you and what you're up to.
Yeah, you can find me on all the social platforms. I am on TikTok, unfortunately, but
Dancing.
you know, absolutely not. I'm either doing like weird stuff or music stuff. But Instagram is mainly where I live in terms of online stuff. And then my website, emilywolfmusic.com, has all my tour dates. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll let you get back to your afternoon. Yes, 2 hours
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
So
yeah,
afternoon.
yeah.
And you got to come up to Canada at some point. You've toured enough. You just throw in a Canadian leg, at least Vancouver.
Yeah.
Screw everything else.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I really want to go up there. I've been wanting to go for a while, so we'll make it happen soon.
Once again, thanks to Emily for coming on and chatting with me. If you like the video, check out what else Backline Beat has to offer, whether it's here on the YouTube channel or on backlinebeat.com. And if you like what you see, I'd love if you hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to support the channel and the site a bit more, there's ways to do so in the description box below. Thanks, and have yourself a good one.